Hello everyone, welcome to the 6th Kuala Lumpur International Multidisciplinary Academic Conference 2024. Today, I'm going to present my paper entitled Understanding the Root Cause of Cybersecurity Incidents through Dupont Dirty Dozen Framework. My name is Alan Peter Diman, and I'm from the School of Graduate Studies, Asia E-University, Subang Jaya, Malaysia. My presentation will consist of 5 main elements. They are introduction, literature reviews, Dupont Dirty Dozen Framework, future research opportunities, and a conclusion. Let us begin with the introduction. Here we have a picture of two cyber criminals who had successfully stolen the data and money from an organization. My question to you today is, can a similar event occur in your organization? In this second picture, we can see that a lady is asking a car mechanic to help her remove malware, which is a kind of viruses from her mobile phone. So the question that we need to ask ourselves here is the car mechanic fit to do the job for her? And if the answer to the question is yes, will that action introduce more problem to her phone at a later stage? As everyone knows, data and information are organization two most valuable assets. However, in 2023, there were almost 1 million cybersecurity incidents being reported globally. And the trend of cybersecurity incidents have seen an increase at an average of 20% on a yearly basis, according to Jurgens and Dalchin 2024. I would like to give two examples of recent cybersecurity incidents involving two well-known big tech companies. The first one is Facebook, which suffered more than 500 million personal data breaches in the year 2021. And the second one is Google, which had to pay more than 300 million US dollar for a court settlement due to data breaches between 2015 and 2018. So, beside Facebook and Google, cybersecurity incidents have also occurred in other well-known organizations. For example, in 2022, organizations such as Twitter, Uber, and WhatsApp have also suffered similar kind of incidents. How about in Malaysia? According to the Star online news portal, which quoted Cybersecurity Malaysia, in 2023, approximately 842 gigabytes of data losses were reported in the first half of 2023. This is an increase of 27% compared to a similar period in 2022. Several significant cybersecurity incidents were reported in 2022 and 2023, as reported by the New Straits Times online news portal. The first one is the data breaches involving Election Commission or EC, which has caused 13 million of personal data was stolen in 2022. The next one is Telecom Malaysia or TM, which had suffered data breach involving more than 250,000 unified mobile account holders in the year 2023. The similar incidents were also being reported to have occurred to organizations such as Maxis and the Social Security Organization or Perkeso. In the case of Maxis, initially it was reported that there were some cases of data leaks. However, the later investigation confirmed that no such leaks were occurred. And in the case of Perkeso, approximately 1 million of personal data leaks were reported in 2023. So here we can see the online news related to the agencies mentioned in the previous slides. So we can see the Telecom Malaysia, and over here is the Perkeso and the Election Commission. Damage from cybersecurity incidents can cause organizations to suffer financial losses, loss of competitiveness, and damage to their reputation. To protect themselves from being the target of cyber criminals, organizations are mostly relying on technological means to protect themselves. However, according to many studies, their effectiveness is very much in doubt. Therefore, researchers in the field of information security recommend that organizations to look at human factors as the source of the problem. In that sense, this argument is logical as human errors have caused roughly 95% of the cybersecurity incidents, according to Peterson et al. 2023. Following this trend, this paper will look in details into the role of human errors in cybersecurity incidents. The other thing that we should note is researchers often argue that humans are the weakest link in cybersecurity defense for any organization. We move on to the literature reviews. In the case of cybersecurity incidents, human errors will cause either action or inaction by the individuals. In this context, action will lead the person to make the wrong move, while inaction will lead them to not taking any action when there is a cyber threat. There are 5 common types of human errors in cybersecurity. The first one is management of password, clicking on phishing email, not updating the software application, careless handling of sensitive data, and finally, inadequate cybersecurity awareness. Example of human error related to the management of password. In this picture, it depicted that the password can be guessed easily. Here is an example of an error on clicking on phishing email. So the question here is that have you ever encountered similar situation? Previous studies have looked at human factors. However, they lack the following. The first one is failure to identify the root cause of the problem. In other words, what are the human behavior that lead them to commit such error? And the second one is the use of non-standardized framework to study those human factors. This paper intends to address the two issues highlighted above through the use of Dupont Dirty Dozen framework to explain the root causes behind the occurrence of cybersecurity incidents. Dupont Dirty Dozen framework. Dupont Dirty Dozen framework was first developed by Gordon Dupont in 1993, mainly to aid in identifying aviation incidents or accidents caused by human factors. It consists of 12 types of human errors, which, if not mitigated properly, can lead to incidents and accidents. So, the 12 elements of human errors according to Dupont Dirty Dozen framework are lack of communication, complacency, lack of knowledge, distraction, lack of teamwork, fatigue, lack of resources, pressure, lack of assertiveness, stress, lack of awareness, and finally, norms. I would like to highlight that even though the framework was initially used in the field of aviation, it has since been applied to other disciplines such as healthcare. So this is a picture of Gordon Dupont. So Gordon Dupont developed the Dirty Dozen framework in 1993 while he was working for Transport Canada. So as mentioned earlier, the framework has also been used in other fields, and in this case, it is in the healthcare or medical field. So the question that this paper intends to answer is, how can the Dupont Dirty Dozen framework be applied to explain human errors in the cases of cybersecurity incidents? So here we look at each of the element of the Dirty Dozen framework and how they can be used to explain the root cause behind the cybersecurity incidents. The first one is lack of communication. Lack of communication can occur between various departments. For example, the IT security departments and HR department or marketing department. In this sense, this lack of communication can lead to individuals becoming unaware of the potential cybersecurity threats, their role in maintaining cybersecurity, and how would they respond in the event of cybersecurity incidents. It can also lead them to become unaware of different cybersecurity standards being implemented across the organization. The next one is complacency. When the person is in the state of complacency, this can lead them having a false sense of security. They neglecting best practices and underestimation of the potential risks associated with cybersecurity. On the other hand, lack of knowledge is dangerous as it can lead to unintentional insider threat, which means that the person himself is a threat to the organization internally. And in addition, due to the lack of knowledge, they tend to make mistakes that compromise their organization security. Distraction, for example, from work-related activities, can simply lead to individuals being diverted away from critical security practices and protocols, which in the end can create a gap that allow cyber threats. Meanwhile, a lack of teamwork among individuals in an organization can ultimately lead to no coordination, communication, and collaboration among the stakeholders to safeguard information assets. Additionally, it can also lead to inconsistent security practices implementation across the organization, thereby creating opportunities for cyber criminals. Next is fatigue. When a person is fatigued, it can impair their cognitive function and decision making. This will eventually affect their concentration, memory, and attention to detail, which in turn leads them to make mistakes that are detrimental to their organization. On the other hand, a lack of resources such as IT infrastructure can cause the organization to rely heavily on outdated, less secure technology and insufficient investment in security infrastructure. Lack of resources can also come in the form of insufficient cybersecurity personnel, which in both instances can create vulnerabilities in the organization. The effect of pressure is almost similar to the effect as found in fatigue mentioned earlier, in the sense that it can affect individual decision-making process, their attention to details, for example, scrutinizing phishing email, and adherence to the required cybersecurity protocols. Next is lack of assertiveness. When there is a lack of assertiveness in organization, it will affect the level of confidence and self-assurance with which individuals communicate their concern, enforce policies, and adhere to best practices. As a result, there will be gaps in cybersecurity measures that eventually lead to the organization being vulnerable to cybersecurity attacks. Similar to the effect of fatigue and pressure as described earlier, stress can lead to a lack of oversight and lapse in cybersecurity practices, and in addition, it can impair cognitive function, making individuals more prone to making mistakes such as clicking on phishing emails. The effect of lack of awareness is almost identical to the lack of knowledge, in the sense that it can lead to individual being unaware of potential cybersecurity threats or best practice cybersecurity practices that they should adopt, and having the knowledge of potential consequences of security breaches. Finally are the norms. Organization and individual norms can affect the person behavior, practices, and attitudes which lead them to practice below acceptable level of standards towards cybersecurity. The next section is future research opportunities. Based on the description of how Dupont Dirty Dozen framework, as explained earlier, several future research opportunities are available for future researchers. The first one is to investigate how the framework manifests in different industries in the context of cybersecurity. For example, individuals' cybersecurity behavior in healthcare, finance, and transportation industry. The next research opportunity is to explore how organizational culture influenced the Dupont Dirty Dozen framework. The third one is to assess the effectiveness of training program designed to address each of the 12 elements of the framework. The next opportunity is to investigate the role of technology in mitigating the risks associated with the framework. The fifth one is to conduct longitudinal studies to track how the framework contributes to cybersecurity incidents over time. And finally, to delve deeper into the psychological and behavioral aspect that underlie the 12 elements of the framework. Now we come to the conclusion of my paper. This paper has presented a Dupont Dirty Dozen framework which, as we have seen, is capable of identifying human errors as the root causes of cybersecurity incidents. Thus, it can help organizations to regularly assess and refine strategies to address the human errors related to cybersecurity. As a result, it can enhance cyber defense by recognizing and mitigating the risks associated with human factors. As for the conclusion, organization can apply the Dupont Dirty Dozen framework to provide a holistic approach to the improvement of human behavior in protecting cyberspace. With that, I would like to end my video presentation. Thank you everyone for listening and watching this presentation. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.